Welcome everyone, my name is Bree. I am the co-founder of Bubble Bath Treats. We specialize in handmade soaps, bath and body products, and candles. Today I want to talk about candle wicks. Now there's an array of wicks to choose from. Sometimes it can be super overwhelming, so I'm here to talk about the pros and cons of wooden wicks and cotton wicks. Wooden wicks are made of wood, they are all natural, and when you light them they are not going to emit toxins into the air, as well as cotton wicks. So if you buy 100% cotton or hemp wicks, you're not essentially going to have toxins emit into the air either, so that's a really huge pro. Wooden wicks do have a more powerful burn. They also produce a larger melt pool, making the hot throw stronger and quicker. So you're not going to wait over 15 minutes for your candle to start smelling good. It's going to smell good really fast, as opposed to a cotton wick, which has a smaller flame and will not burn to a full melt pool as quick as a wood wick. So a pro with your cotton wick candle is that it will last your consumer longer. It will just be a longer lasting candle in general. Another pro to a wood wick is that it stands alone. You do not have to have a tool to hold it in place. You put your wick in a wick clip, stick it at the bottom of your jar, pour your wax, and it's really just going to stay in the same spot where you placed it originally. With a cotton wick, it's a little bit different. You need a tool to actually hold your wick center and in place while you pour your candle wax. So that could take a little bit more time. Wooden wicks come in a variety of different options. They come in a variety of different colors. They come in different shapes and sizes. You can get like crossed or X wicks or cylinder wicks. You can even get wicks with little words on the top. So you could buy a candle and the wick will say love or joy on top. It's just a beautiful thing. Cotton wicks, you don't get as much customization as you would with a wooden wick. Also, wooden wicks come in 3 different types. You can get a quiet wick, which is called a whispering wick, or you can get a crackling wick or a booster wick. Now the crackling wick is going to crackle. It's going to sound like a mini fireplace, and then a booster wick is just 2 wicks placed together. Both cotton and wood wicks need to be trimmed before lighting. Wood wicks, you have to trim them to about 1/8 of an inch. With cotton wicks, I believe it's about 1/4 of an inch. And after relighting, wood wicks are really easy to trim down. You basically just peel off the ash part. With cotton wicks, you have to have a tool to cut the mushroomed burned part off of the wick. Wooden wick candles also sell for more money. They are marketable as a luxury candle. Now, they were not as popular back in the day. So when you saw a wood wick candle, it was more of a rare, luxurious item. Today, it's commonly used, but it's still considered a luxury candle. Also, they do cost more money, so that's a con. They do cost more than cotton wicks. But the pro is that you get to sell your candle for more money. So depending on who your target consumer is, that really comes into play on which wick that you want to use. Wooden wicks can tend to be a little bit inconsistent depending on what brands you use. I personally have only used Wooden Wick Co's wooden wicks. They have never given me an issue. I've never had an inconsistency. The only inconsistent issue that I've ever had is one time I got a wick that was kind of bow shaped. So when I poured my candle, it was like totally off center. I placed it in the center, but because it was bowed, it ended up being like way off center. That's the only issue I've ever had. But I've heard that people using wooden wicks from different companies do experience different burns and different melt pools, and they just have a very inconsistent experience. With cotton wicks, you really have a consistent experience. You're pretty much, once you light your first cotton candle, that performance is going to be pretty much the same and consistent all the way around throughout all of those cotton wicks. So sizing can be a pro or a con depending on who you are, but they do come in so many different options. With wood wicks, you're not only looking at one component, but 2. So you're looking at the width of the wick and the thickness. So both of those determine how your candle is going to perform. If it's too thick, you might get a a really large and deep melt pool, which you don't want. So all of that can come into play. So if you need help determining what wooden wick size to use, for example, Wooden Wick does have a wick selection guide on their site. Just go to the wick selection guide on their menu, type in the diameter of your vessel and your wax type, and it will give you the recommended wick size and type for your candle. So that's really cool. And if you're unsure and you don't want to purchase one wick straight off the bat, they do have a sample kit, which comes, I think it's about 4 to 5 different wicks, so you can test your candles with all of those wicks and then make a decision. With Cotton Wicks, there are numerous suppliers. There are numerous amounts of cotton wicks to choose from. So there's a lot of testing that has to go into play here. You're just gonna have to test till you find the right wick. One downside to cotton wicks is depending on the size of your vessel. If you have a larger vessel that has a wider diameter, you may have to double wick. Now what this means is you put 2 wicks side by side to achieve the desired melt pool to reach the whole diameter of your candle. With wooden wicks, since there are different sizes and widths, you typically don't have to double wick. You can just use one wide wick in the center. Also, cotton wicks tend to have an inconsistency when they are lit. So when they are in the melt pool, they can tend to transition because it is liquid. So it will start in the middle and end up being off center after the light because it just tends to move around during the lighting process. As always, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope it was helpful in determining which wick to use for your future candle making. Thanks guys, bye!